Young, Dumb, and Thriving.
But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Young, Dumb, and Thriving. Today you are here with Charmaine and our extraordinary guest, Aeryk Church.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, everybody.
So, one, obviously, is Black History Month. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. First of all, is Black History Month important to you? Why or why not?
Oh, yes. It is extremely important to me. Everything that we've gone through as a culture, as a people, it's got to be documented. Not just documented, but we got to know where we came from to think about where we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
There's a lot that, everyone these days, Black, everyone is there. I see a lot that's just like they want everything given to them. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, well, do you know what was done for you to even be at this point?
Wow. Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that I think about. Like, you got to know your history, because it's like one of those sayings, like, those that don't know the history are doomed to repeat it. Mm-hmm. So imagine if there's a group of Black kids that have no idea about slavery, no idea what their great grandparents were doing. Maybe they were important in the military or Tuskegee Airmen. Mm-hmm. They don't know about that history, and they're just like, I'm just some kid. Like, nah, dog, we are kings and queens. Mm. It goes way deeper than that. But yeah, we got to know our history.
Exactly.
So it's super important to us.
Exactly. And first of all, I love that you said we are kings and queens, because you know what I'm saying, I'm a queen, he a king. We definitely are queens and kings. We're royalty. So, do you ever feel like your race has an impact on your profession?
At times I do. So being a Marine it's interesting, because a lot of people like to say, "Oh, I'm colorblind." I'm like, dog, like, no. Right. You've got to know, like, you're whatever nationality that you're. I happen to be an amazing Black man. Yeah. We're just coinciding. As long as we're wearing this uniform and doing what we need to do and taking care of each other, it doesn't matter. Right. But I have noticed, it's always good when I see other Black Marines that are doing great things. Yeah. It's just like, I see you. Yeah. I see you. It makes me want to go like, hey, where are you from? Mm-hmm. Where'd you come from? What made you want to join? Yeah. And that sense of togetherness just helps bond with everything else that we've already gone through and accomplished. But it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. Yeah. So far. Everyone can say, like, hey, I've done this, but when it comes to what I've done so far in my career and how, just being Black in general, it's the eyes. Mm-hmm. It's who's watching. Yeah. And I say all the time, you never know who's watching. Ever. So because, busting my ass, they're not like, oh, well, that Black kid works hard. They're just like, that's an awesome Marine. Right. And then later, it's just like, you know what? This is amazing to see. Mm-hmm. So as I started to climb the ranks, the junior Marines are like that see me are like, wow, that's something I want to be. Yeah. So to have that kind of vision or to have that kind of thought process, I'm like, there's eyes everywhere. Yeah. So if I start acting a fool, they're like, well, damn. Well, that's a horrible example, and I never want to set that. Right. So in your career, obviously he's a Marine. He just said it. Do you see a lot of Black people, or is it kind of rare? So I've had a wonderful opportunity to kind of deal with all different branches. Yeah. And I see a lot in the Navy, Navy and the Army. I see a lot in the Navy and the Army. Now I would say shout out to the Army, but no, not at all. Not at all. All right. We all know how the pecking order goes: Marine, and then there's everybody else. But there's honestly not that many, and I had to kind of think about it, like, why not? Right. And like what we offer, what we're about, most of us have a natural swag about us. Yeah. Just naturally. So why would you not want to be a part of what is one of the most swagged out branches of just, you automatically get that respect of like, oh, you was a Marine? All right, hey, cool, boss, you got it. Right. But no, I really don't see a lot. So when I do, I'm just like, ooh. Right, get excited. Hey, like, okay. I see you. Right. I see you. But especially within the officer ranks. Mm-hmm. I think I broke this down before. The last time I saw an officer in my field, in my job, was 2018. Right? So, as I went through the journey, then I became a mobility officer.
Yeah.
I called one of my boys as I was on my way to training, and he's like, "You're the only one in the class."
Wow.
It's like, whoa, that's interesting. That's interesting. But not only that, I had to start thinking, when was the last time I saw someone in my job profession that looked like me?
Right.
And now I'm setting the stage. So for the next group of, mobility guys that want to come and join, they'll see me and be like, oh, there's one that looks like me. I want to be on that journey. I wish we had a little bit more.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it growing.
So how does it make you feel, like you said, when you are the only one sitting in a classroom or the only one in that particular space? Not necessarily just the field, but say if you're in a classroom and you're the only black man, how would that make you feel?
I gotta show out.
Yeah.
I gotta show out. And I don't mean show out as in like act a fool, make a name. Like, no. I need to be articulate. I need to make sure that my thoughts come across as clear and concise.
Yes.
I gotta make sure that when my presence is felt, like I'm not just hiding in the corner, like, well, I'm the only one here. Well, what if they none of that matters.
Right.
Like, be intelligent, be the smartest person in the room. If you're not, don't be afraid to say that. Just be honest.
Yeah. So
be transparent, but at the same time, be confident. That's the biggest thing. That's what I'm always about, is confidence. It's I saw it a lot. I grew up playing baseball.
Right.
Baseball is my number one sport. Baseball's been predominantly white.
Yeah.
So, growing up in those kind of environments already, it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to be better than everybody else. I'm going to push so that way they don't just recognize me as like, oh, he's the only black guy here. It's like, oh, no, he's either the best, he's one of the fittest, he's one of the smartest, the brightest, or I know if he's got something to say, we're going to listen.
Wow.
So it's just, making sure that you're a presence and not just feeling down. Like, because a lot of the times we find ourselves in those situations where it's like, am I the only black one in here? And then we start looking for the others to kind of group together. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
But those are the times where it's like, I'm the only one. All right, well, I'm going to stand out.
Wow.
And also be recognized as great, not just because of the color of my skin, but because of my content.
Right. And you pointed out a good part. Like, one, a lot of times, especially for me, I'm not even gonna lie, in high school when I was the only black female in class, that would either make or break me. Because it would either make me be like, okay, you know what? I have to show out, as in be intelligent. And if I don't know something, that's okay. Speak up and learn it, but be confident in who I am. Yeah. Or it would make me feel like, okay, I'm not saying nothing because I ain't got time for nobody to be saying nothing about me, just because I'm a black girl. And it sucks sometimes because it's like, one, our kids have to experience that. Hopefully they don't, but it's something that happens to us. We do look around and we're like, oh, we the only one. How? It's 2020.
You make that eye contact?
Right.
Yo, what's up?
Right, exactly. It's like you or one other person, because they have to have quotas now in classes. So they have to have at least like a couple of black people in a class now. And you see that person, you're like, okay, I see you. We're gonna talk later. But you better be great. Because if you're not great, I can't be with you.
Exactly.
So can you tell us if you ever were told as a child, growing up, like, you're a black man, you need to be careful of these things because you're black?
Yeah. I had the conversation actually a few weeks ago with one of my high school friends that, they've kind of been hidden away from the racist part of where we came from. So now that they're adults and they're seeing everything, they're questioning a lot. Yeah. And they're like, well, why does this have to be like this? Why can't everyone just be treated as this? And I'm like, you have no idea. Right. But the one thing that sticks out the most to me is, that car light right in the middle. Mm-hmm. Most times, we're not thinking anything of it. It's like, all right, let me just cut this on real quick. Like, if you're, as we're growing up, as we're kids, like, I need to see something. Yeah. Parents, grandparents are like, hey, cut that light off while we're driving. Right. You're thinking like, oh man, that must be illegal. Yeah. I need to hurry up and do this. And it's like, wait. As I got older now, and I realized like that's not illegal. But what they're saying is, don't bring attention
to yourself,
to us. Yeah. Because it's just like, well, damn. now I had to start peeling it back. Like, okay, so my grandmother, you know, she'd be like, hey, don't cut that light on, don't cut that light on, or like, hey, hurry up and cut it off. I'm like, all right, well, that's kind of weird. But now, you know, I was like, well, damn, my grandmother's telling me that, because if we are pulled over for whatever reason, or is that bringing attention and we're pulled over, that could be life or death.
Exactly.
And those are the kind of things that's just like, that is wild.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then growing up, you know, getting ready to go out with my friends or ride out with them, it's just like, hey, if you're pulled over, be extremely polite.
Exactly.
Don't have an attitude. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, to the police officer. I'm like, I'm already naturally polite, but why do I have to be extra just because it's police? And it's just like, you know, obviously she didn't tell me then, but it's just like, hey, you know, your life could possibly be on the line.
Right. Based
Based off your interaction. I'm like, that is wild.
Yeah.
Like, and I gotta wonder, who else is being told this?
Right.
I highly doubt that, you know, white kids are being like, hey, you know, be careful when you go out, you know, when you're getting pulled over. It's just like, damn.
Yeah.
Do we really have to teach our kids this? So now I'm like, what do I tell my daughters?
Right.
Like, you know, I'm going to teach them to be polite and courteous of others, but they're not going to get stepped on either.
Exactly.
But I don't want that not being stepped on attitude to be taken as a threat.
Exactly.
So it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
But that has been probably the biggest thing that stuck with me that my grandmother, you know, said and had while raising me. And for the longest, I couldn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And now that I do, I'm like, that is crazy.
Yeah, when you reflect on your childhood and you're like, that's why.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You know, you start piecing things together as when you get older. So can you talk a little bit about your background?
Okay. Well, shoot. Aeryk. Who is Aeryk? All right, well, this was an ABC, which is awesome. So I was born in Philly. I don't have much recollection or remembrance of there because I left there when I was 2.
Okay.
My mother was going through some things up there where she wasn't able to take care of me. So she takes me down to my grandmother, so that's who raised me, down in Virginia, and I've been there until, you know, I got 18 and left. So that right there, that little bit right there, set the stage
for who you are,
for who I am today.
Yeah.
So being raised by my grandmother is like church every week. Singing in the choir, praise dancing, learning to play piano, then learning to play the drums, becoming one of the best drummers on the show, if I do say so. But it just set the stage for greatness. The one thing that sticks out to me the most of being raised that way was her attitude about, hey, look, it doesn't matter what you do in life. You can be a janitor, you can be a trash man, whatever it is that you do, be the best at it. And those words resonate daily. So that's part of, you know, that's probably the biggest part of who I am and what I'm about, and my confidence of just like, look, I'm going to walk into the room. I may not know what's going on, but I will be the best at it. And it's like, well, that's a little bit cocky. It's like, all right, well, cool if you think so. It's just confidence in myself and my abilities.
Right.
So, you know, there's that. So she had to keep me busy. I'm a very energetic, very energetic. So, you know, always got to put me in things. So, you know, I got into sports. Baseball was my first sport. Baseball, basketball. She didn't let me play football. Well, I mean, probably can't tell by sitting down, but, you know, rather short. No, so she was like, no, you know, you're too small. I'm like, I took that to heart. Yeah. So of course, obviously later I learned to play rugby, which is way worse. But that's, you know, that's neither here nor there. But sports was an outlet. I loved reading, loved reading and writing. Of course, music as well. So there's a lot that goes into all of that. But I'm the oldest of 4. Okay. So I'm the big brother, oldest out of 4, but wasn't raised with my siblings. Okay. So like we like now we have, you know, that relationship as we're older and all. But you know, growing up it was just me and my grandmother at the house. Okay. That's, oh my gosh. It's so in depth. I'm trying to think like, you know, like how to like tailor it to kind of like where we're at, but high school, was a little bit of a, what do they call it, like the popular, unpopular person.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knew me. I knew everybody else,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like that popular kid, which I think is a great testament to like character building.
Yes.
You know, because had I been like that super popular person, I probably would have been hanging with the wrong crowds.
Right.
Probably would have been doing things that wasn't even things that I wouldn't be interested in, but just
Right.
like show face and like, hey, look at me. It's like, not for all of that, not for not. But you know, I guess it helped humble beginnings.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
the best way to pretty much paint how I came to be.
Okay.
But then we end up with the military,
Right.
which I'm telling you, that was a surprise for everybody. That was one of those, like, my junior year, I'm like, yeah, I'm not joining the military. Like, nah, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, military is not for me. Then senior year, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna dial that back real quick. Maybe I'm interested.
Right,
Let's
right.
see how
Maybe
this
this is
goes.
for me.
Maybe it is for me. Maybe it's Maybelline. But like, so one of my best friends, my brother Sean, he went my junior year. So now that I'm seeing him back, I'm like, oh, okay, dope uniform, whole change demeanor. I'm like, I can get with this. You know, once again, talking about my Army folk, I see my dudes going to the National Guard, Army, come back, and they're the same person.
Right.
Nothing's changed about them. They got like a $3,000 bonus. They come back, buy a cheap little Impala, or like just something like, yeah, I got money. God, you got $2,000.
Right.
Okay, all right, cool. I mean, but where I'm from, you know, the Eastern Shore, like it's, you know, that's quite a bit for being in that area. But I'm like, I'm not seeing any changes in people.
Yeah.
You know, then I realized, because for some reason I thought I wanted to do physical therapy.
Okay.
And I'm like, why do I want to do that?
Yeah.
Like, I have no desire. I'm not really into I don't know. I think I was just thinking, you know, what's long term, you know, medical is going to be there for a while.
Right.
But when I realized I had no passion for it, I was just like, well, college is not going to be for me.
Yeah.
So there I am trying to figure out, what do I want to do? Because I can't stay on the shore. I know I need to get away, establish myself, and then I can come back and check out what home is. But I decided, you know, whatever. Me and my friend was like, hey man, let's do the Marine Corps thing. I initially was supposed to be in the band.
Yeah.
I am glad that didn't happen. But yeah, originally supposed to go to the band. They shipped out my book for me. And then he was like, well, they actually had percussion spots. I was like, well, I ended up with a logistics option. Don't know what this is going to turn out to be. And it turned out to be one of the greatest things ever. So I don't know how my recruiter worked it. I know when he called me and he's like, hey, you know, because for some reason, I also thought I wanted to be a cook.
You just everywhere.
No, you don't know what you don't know. Like, yeah, well, maybe I want my own little restaurant. Boy, if he was like, man, look, actually, cooks are kind of like, they're cooking for all the Marines.
Right.
They're out here doing stuff in the field. I'm like, oh,
That's
hell no.
yeah.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Woo! Hey, shout out to the culinaries out there, though.
Right.
Just say, man, look, hey.
Y'all some troopers.
They
Right.
truly are. They hating life, but I mean, hey, man, we got child.
Right.
So he called me. He's like, yeah, you know, we got intel. But the way that he said it, I thought he said infantry. And I was like, nope.
Right.
Which, once again, probably wouldn't have worked out for my personality anyway, going into intel, knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, hey, so we're subjected to this room, no windows, we're good? No. I am too bubbly of a person to be locked into a room. So then, you know, I end up going, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then I finally found out that I was in logistics right before I went to school. So it's just like, boot camp, cool, have no idea what I'm doing. Then I get the MCT and I'm like, hey, what's my enlist? It says basic Marine. I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess. Until the very end, they're like, all right, cool, you're going to be an 0431. Cool, I guess.
Right.
But, all right, well, shoot. And I haven't turned back since.
Right. So can you tell us, first of all, tell us your age before you even get into the levels that you've done crossed.
29.
29 years old. Now go ahead and tell us your success in the Marine Corps, please.
So for those that don't understand the rank structure or how the military works out, we've got enlisted and we've got officers.
Yes.
So I started off enlisted. Private E1, obviously is in boot camp. I get to the schoolhouse and I get promoted to E2.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm a little PFC, running around thinking I know what's going on. I did not. Automatically picked up E3, Lance Corporal. 9 months after that, of course, staying out of trouble, blase, all the good stuff. Now, this is where it gets good.
Yeah.
So then I was put on the meritorious board, won it. But I also rated my score at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's just like, hey, we're going to promote you ahead. Oh, wait, your score came up. You won the board, but we're going to promote you on the first. So that doesn't hurt me later. I don't know how it would have hurt, but whatever. So at that point, I'm at 2 years in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So 2 years in the Marine Corps, I'm 20 years old, and I'm an NCO. So for those that don't know military or Marine Corps talk, I'm a non-commissioned officer. So I am in charge of people.
Yes.
So I'm a manager.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm
That's
a
what
manager. And you know, I told my friends the friends that I made when I first got there. So I check in. I end up getting my own little group, and I'm like, y'all know I'm gonna get promoted before you. Hey man, get out of here. They've been there already like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You know, they're Lance Corporals. They think they know what's happening. I'm just like, I'm gonna get promoted before you.
Right.
And sure enough, when I pinned on Corporal, and I'm like, oh, you gotta listen to me now. Imagine how that works out.
Right.
Like, so go ahead and clean the bathroom today. They're like, bet. I was like, all right, cool. That's how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, so then 2 years after that, sergeant. So now I'm an E5, I'm 22, and I'm leading guys that are 24, 25, that are way older than me, but just, you know, the aura that I was bringing along, and I'm busting my ass every you know, level that I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, look, like, sure, I can wear the rank, but you gotta respect the person as well.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna go out there and get it and grind and show y'all what right looks like.
Right.
And that's just been it's been every time I hit it, you know, I feel like Marines want to follow an example like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, like leaders lead.
Right.
And it's pointless to be like, well, I hate people that hide behind their rank and their power. It's infuriating because it's just like, well, what have you done?
Right.
What have you done? I was like, well, I've done this. All right, well, what have you done lately?
Right, like show me now, not past tense, years ago. Okay.
So, hey, about that action, boss.
Exactly.
About that action. So, you know, now here I am, 4-year sergeant, and this is where things are about to start taking a turn, because now you're about to get introduced to the staff NCO ranks.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how I establish myself now is going to set the stage for later.
Yeah.
And you know, in my head, I don't know what I don't know. So, you know, I talked to the monitor. Monitor's just like, oh, this is an amazing career. Where do you want to go? Whoa, hey, send me to Virginia. I want to go back home, you know, because now I've had the twins.
Yeah.
So it's just like I want to, you know, get with my family and start building everything that I need to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool, go to Virginia. So now I get to Virginia and I'm like, all right, I shouldn't get promoted to staff until I leave here. So I'm thinking in 3 years, cool. I'll get looked at for staff sergeant. I'll leave there and I'll go about my merry way. That was not the case.
At all.
A year in, my Master Guns, so Master Gun Sergeant is an E9, so they're top of the enlisted food chain along with the Sergeant Major.
Yes.
So my Master Gun's like, hey, get your stuff together. And I'm like, why? He's like, you're probably going to get selected this year. I'm like, dog, get out of here. I was like, there's not enough time.
Yeah.
There's not enough time. I'm way too young for this. He's just like, get your stuff together, take your promotion photo, and get ready. I'm like, fine. So go ahead, locked up, get my photo done, get my all my stuff's in order, and I'm like, all right, sure. I don't know why you got me doing this,
right?
But it's done.
Yeah.
Message comes out: selections to staff sergeant, church AB. I'm like, bro,
that's amazing.
6-year staff sergeant,
right?
6-year staff sergeant. I'm like,
And so at that age though, you were 24.
Yeah, so 24.
Yep.
So I pinned on at 25, and I was just like, this is nice. I'm looking. I'm like, is that a all right
rocker right there?
Okay, I got a rocker. I'm feeling myself.
Right.
I'm a staff NCO.
Yeah.
this is wild. And so now I'm like, okay, this is a whole nother ball game now.
Yeah.
Because now it's just like, all right, sergeants are cool. They're at the top of the NCO food chain. And now I'm at the bottom of the staff NCO food chain, but I'm a staff NCO.
Right.
Like, dog, like you making staff decisions at this point.
Right.
It was wild. I leave Virginia. They send me to the waterfront. So I go to the ship. And I'm like, all right, I do my thing dealing with the Navy.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Navy. Especially if there's any Navy chiefs out there. I went through the season last year. Those that don't know what the Navy season is, find a chief and ask them.
Right.
Find a chief and ask them. I'm doing my time on the ship, and I'm looking at everything. I'm like, well, it's been about a year and a half, about 2 now. It should be about that time.
Yeah.
And so I'm already telling everybody, I'm like, hey, when the message comes out, I'm gonna be on it. I'm getting selected to gunny. They're like, man, dog, what you got, like 8 years? And I was like, yeah, I do. I got 8 years. I was like, but because of my repertoire, because of my resume, what I've done, I'm like, I'm going to get selected before you.
Right.
So now we got dudes that, are, my peers at like 14, 15 years, 13. And sure enough, gunny message comes out, church, A,
my
B.
gosh, that's awesome.
That was one of those like, dog, what? So now I'm a 9-year gunny.
Wow.
Like, it's, there's a lot to be said because, logistics, barring all the changes that's been going on in the Marine Corps lately, but our promotions were generally quick anyway.
Yeah.
But this is almost unheard of. Like, this is just
Definitely.
like back to back to back. Like, hey, 2 years is up, promote that man.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 years is up, promote that man. And I'm like, all right, cool. Give me all the responsibilities.
Yeah.
Because as I take this on, like, I welcome it. Because now, and as leaders should, but now that I've got the power, how can I take care and bring up the ones that are now behind me?
Exactly.
So those that were my peers, now it's like, hey, here's what you need to do to get promoted.
Right.
Here's what you need. Like, why would I keep all that knowledge to myself?
Right.
And, when I see, leaders that do things like that, it's like, dog, it's not about you.
Right.
Once you have that rank, it is given to you because you're going to take care of the ones that are below you, take care of the ones that are around you, as well as take care of the ones that are senior to you.
Right.
It goes in all directions. People think leaders, subordinates, like, all right, yeah, cool, but at times it's like, who's taking care of the leaders?
Right.
Everyone just thinks like, oh, well, they're at the top of the food chain, they're going to be fine. But statistically, those are the ones that are usually hurting the most because they're isolated.
Exactly.
So it's just like, all right, cool. So my biggest thing is like, hey, as a leader, how can I help the ones that are around me? And even the ones that are not just directly under me. Like, hey, what do you do, Marine? Or sailor or airman? What do you do? Where are you from? Tell me about yourself and how's work going for you? Well, this, and this. All right. Well, have you thought about this?
Right.
Have you tried this? And they're like, well, no. So now I'm just trying to motivate everyone that I pretty much come across.
Right.
Because, there's been times it's like, well, why do you want to get out the Marine Corps? Why do you want to get out the service? And they're like, well, this. I'm like, dog, you realize there's more than just the situation that you're in at hand, right?
Exactly.
Did you know that there's X, Y, and Z available to you to have, you can have fun while you're in the military instead of just doing your job, go home. Do your job, go home. Like, no one wants to live like that.
Right.
So, I would take it upon myself to be like, hey, try this out. Like, hey, roll with me. I'm about to teach you McMap, which is the Marine Corps martial arts. So I'm like, hey, we can fight, I can train, and then they start building like, oh, snap, okay, there is more.
Yeah.
And get that excitement. I'm like, you're welcome.
Right. And that's why you became a gunny, honestly. Like, let's be real. His personality, the way you're like saying, anybody I came in contact with, I wanted to motivate. I wanted to inspire. I wanted to get to know them to make sure they're being taken care of. And not just my subordinates, not just those under my charge, but those outside of where I'm at or where I sit at, if you sit at a desk or not. And then I want to take care of the leaders too. Like, how are my leaders doing? Because I know y'all are isolated. That's why, Yeah.
So, since I was in Virginia, since I was a sergeant, so I've known since I was a young E3, young Lance Corporal, that I wanted to become a warrant officer. And, as I'm looking into the program, trying to learn more about it, I'm like, I definitely want to do this.
Yeah.
And then, as I ask questions like, should I go warrant or should I go get a degree and become a lieutenant? So glad I went the warrant route. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with straight getting a commission if that's the path for you, depending on what you want to be. But I wanted to stay in my field.
Yeah.
And there's one way to be guaranteed to stay in the profession that I was in, and that was to be a warrant officer. I put in 3 times.
Yeah.
The first time I got denied. I got disqualified because of my tattoos.
Okay.
So I didn't even get looked at. So I was just like, damn, that hurts.
Yeah.
That hurt because everyone's just like the general, everyone that helped put my recommendations together was like, you are a shoo-in. Like the Marine Corps needs this as a warrant officer. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do this.
Right.
Disqualified. I'm like, oh, that hurt. That hurt. So I was like, all right, cool. So I reached out to the director the next year. I'm like, hey, what do I need to do? I'm about to start getting my tattoos removed. So you got to think of the dedication of like, look, you told me no about being an officer once. I'm not going to take that. I don't like taking no for an answer when there's something that I want to get done.
Exactly.
Especially something I want to accomplish. So it's just like, all right, that's not going to stop me. So boom, I'm going to start getting my tattoos removed. So that's going to show the board that, okay, this Marine really wants this.
Right.
He didn't make it last year because of his tattoos, and now he's taking care of that deficiency.
Right.
So I was like, all right, cool. Send up my package, or so I thought I did.
Yeah.
And we're riding, I'm on the ship, and we're riding out to Hawaii, and I'm like, oh, the board ended. So I called. I'm like, hey, sir, like, I know you can't tell me results and none of that. I just want to know if I was boarded, that I got looked at. And he goes, well, I have your tattoo removal updates, but I don't have your package.
Wow.
That broke me. I'm like, dog, this is 2 years now.
Wow.
2 years that I missed out on. So the following year, right before I deploy, I go on a deployment, I'm like, boom, package is done, package is routed. Hey, sir, did you get my package? Hey, we have received your package. It is here. Bet. I woke up in Guam to a text from one of my boys. It's like, hey, we made it. I'm like, yeah, get out of here. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? made what?
Right.
Duh, we made it. I'm like, bet. Pull it up, start looking. Selections to warrant officer, regular, church, A, B. And now I'm at 10 years.
Yeah.
So now at my halfway mark of retirement, I finally done switched over to the officer ranks. And that journey, it's not over.
Yeah,
like,
at all.
It's like, it's not like, I made it, cool, I can coast. Now it's just like, now the real work begins.
Yeah.
Like now, to go from enlisted to officer, like my words have so much more weight to them. Like I can, literally, my words can make or break someone's career.
Yeah.
My recommendation can either get a Marine promoted. My recommendation for re-enlistment can have them stay in the Marine Corps. Like those are the kind of decisions and things that I'm just like, I hold that dear.
Yeah.
Right? August I get promoted again. And so this August I'll become a chief warrant officer. Now that's automatic, but I mean, like,
but it's an accomplishment. It says a lot about you.
And at that point, I'll be able to actually promote Marines.
Right.
I'll be able to do retirements. I'll be able to, do re-enlistments. And there's no greater joy than to be able to be like, hey, I'm here reading this warrant, and you are now promoted. Right. You're now going to the next rank. Or, hey, you're now getting 4 more years of the Corps. Right. Or, like, I can be a speaker, like, hey, this friend of mine is retiring. Like, there's so much. I just want to just keep on being able to give and give.
Oh, my gosh.
Because, I mean, the Marine Corps has been a blessing to me. To me, my family, my friends. And I just want to be a blessing to someone else while I still got a uniform on. And even once I retire, I'll still, hopefully, people will look to me to be like, hey, you were an impact to us. And there's, I can't change the service. I can't change, but I can change people. Exactly. I can affect people. And that's what I really want, my long-lasting, who was Aeryk Church as a Marine. And when they think about me and they think about what I've done, the years that I gave, I want it to be like, okay, well, because of him or because of his attitude or just good words, I'm now more accomplished, or I'm not just a better Marine, but a better person. Right. And it just brings me to like, here I am now with 11 years.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And 11 years, I turned 30 in July, And it's like, looking back, like, it's been a flash. It was like, wow, I've come a long way.
Right. I just can't help but to smile because one, like you said, it goes past you just being a Marine. It goes to all the way into, first of all, how you were raised. Like you said, your grandmother set you up for greatness. And then to who you are as a person. And I'm just smiling because literally since the day I've met you, you've been like that. Always looking out for someone else, always trying to inspire, always trying to like be so like bubbly and open with people so that people could come to you if they needed advice, if they needed help. And I just appreciate that about you, especially since like obviously you didn't get to grow up with both of your parents. You know, you got your grandmother, which is a blessing in disguise, because some people would take that as, well, I didn't have a father around, so how would I know how to be a father? I didn't have my mother to teach me these certain things, so I'm kind of mad at the world. But instead, you took that and you twisted it and became greatness, you know? And even when you spoke about how you were denied, you know, the first 2 times you didn't get what you wanted to get, but you're like, that's not going to stop me. I'm going to do it again. You know, that just shows your character and your drive and your will. And you spoke a little bit also about manifestation without saying the word. Because you
oh,
said,
that's it right there.
Yep, because you said, you were telling people like, I'm going to be promoted. I'm probably going to be promoted before you, you know, as a jokingly manner. But that's manifesting your destiny. That's saying, no, I will be there. I will get to this place no matter how long it takes or no matter how hard I have to work. You got tattoos removed just to get back on the board. Like, that says a lot about your character. And I just want to, let's just bask in the ambience of this because I'm getting goosebumps, because this is the type of Black excellence that people need to see and need to hear about, because you are literally an inspiring leader to somebody somewhere, definitely to me. But I know somebody watching this is like, dang, 30 years old and Chief Warren Officer, what is he sipping on? Because let me get some, you know?
Crown Apple.
Right. That's my favorite. I had to stop drinking though, but that's my favorite, that is. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
But yeah, no, like it's an incredible thing. So on this note, I want to definitely switch to the next segment of the show, which I know you're gonna love. All right, guys, so this is the next segment. So today we're just going to play Connect 4 with a twist, okay? So here I'm yellow and you're red.
Okay.
So you're gonna pull out your pieces and we're going to play. And whenever you have a piece that has something on it, you have to let me know the number and then I'll tell you a word that you gotta explain while we play. So I go first, not you.
Oh, all right, fine.
Okay.
I can deal with it. I can deal with it.
All right. And I go first again, not you.
What? How's it already start with 2?
Okay, now you could go. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So we gonna do. You know, matter of fact, let's hit
Did that have a number?
number 5.
You can take it off and then.
Yeah, I should probably.
So that's 5?
Probably should have did.
Okay, so for your 5th, go ahead and explain failure while we're playing.
Failure.
I go twice again, not you.
What? You know what? We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that. All right, because now I gotta focus on 2 different things. But failure is just giving up.
Okay.
All right, failure is just giving up. Like you can't. If you have a dream, if you want to do something, you know, and you don't get it right the first time, you don't get it right the second time, you don't get it right the third time, and you're just like, you know what, fine, I'm just not going to do this thing at all.
Right.
That is failure.
Okay.
That is the definition of failure.
What number is that?
This is number 1. But before I drop this one in there, so, you know, like, you can't allow yourself to fail. All right. Failure is, say we got 1, right?
Yeah.
All right. So failure are just stepping stones to greatness.
Right.
All right, as I've mentioned it, I've fell down way too many times to count. But it's by picking myself back up and not allowing that to define me. That failure, not allowing it to define me, like, oh, well, I couldn't get this right, so I can't get anything right. Like, nah, that's not the case. It's like, okay, that's going to be my building blocks. So then when I finally accomplish it, I can step even higher. Like, oh, this is what I learned from that.
Right.
You learn from that.
Okay.
What was number 1?
Number 1 is strength. Strength.
So strength can be physical, strength can be mental, but fortitude is what I would drop down for strength.
Yeah.
Right. You've got to have the mental strength to get through hard times.
Yeah.
Right. But you also will need to be physically strong in your body.
Yeah.
Eating right, like eating bacon and greasy foods every day is not going to be the best thing for you.
Right.
Right.
I'm just cutting you off.
You just cut. You
gotta go
that's
fast.
fine. I gotta be stronger than that.
Right.
Hey.
What's the next
It's cool.
number?
It's cool. The next number that's going to pop up is going to be 4.
4. Okay. 4 is advantage.
Damn.
Did I have an advantage in this game?
Yes.
So what happens when I have the advantage or somebody else other than you has the advantage? One, how does that make you feel?
One, it angers me.
Yeah.
Right? When you just think like, well, how come you get to do this and I
Right.
can't? So you can attack that in a few different manners. I'll get you.
Okay.
You can let it just fester
Yeah.
and bug you, but then you're not gonna do anything about it.
Right.
So what are you gonna do?
Right.
It's like I feel these feelings.
Right.
All right, what are you gonna do about it?
Right.
So when I see about having an advantage, it's like, all right, cool. So now let me create that for
Right.
myself.
So we're gonna even stop the game right here, actually, because this game was set up to where I would always win and you would not.
Yeah, I started seeing that out.
One, the chips. So in the game of Connect 4, you're supposed to have 21 each. I actually only gave you 10 and I have 20. So I already had double the chances to win than you had. But I just wanted to show the camera the type of determination and the type of willpower that you as an individual have, And with you explaining the words, I already knew he was going to go in depth with explaining his words. And so I just kept going. I kept trying to block him off. But as you see throughout the game, his mentality was still like, okay, she just went, hold up. Okay, let me get my chip in there. He was trying to fit in where he could. And where he was smart enough to, okay, let me put this chip right here. Okay, she's trying to block me off, but I'm going to go this way now. And that's just him as an individual. So that's obviously what this game had to highlight. And now I want you to, if you have any last piece of advice for somebody out there, go ahead and give it to them.
Okay. And I thought about this as I just saw this because there's two pieces to this that I just gained from this, right? One is the chips were literally stacked against me.
Yeah.
And I had two options. Had I noticed it earlier,
Yeah.
but I had two options. One, to just give in to, well, you've got more than me.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be fair at all, and immediately fail, hit that earlier,
Right.
and quit from the beginning and not even give myself a chance.
Yeah.
Right? And those are those times when those chips are stacked against you, you're back against the wall, where you have to step through
Right.
and have that strength of like, okay, I can get through this. Not just I can get through this, but I will get through this.
Right.
And how. And then my other option was to fight through it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's the stack, it's stacked against me. All right, now watch me better this.
Right.
So having that kind of mentality, or just having that thought process of like, you know what, that really sucks.
Exactly.
All right, let's get it.
Exactly.
And now it's like, whoa, okay, well, you shouldn't have that attitude.
Right.
You're in a bad position. Okay, and
Right.
but there's no way you can win. That you think, but
Right.
okay. Like with me, anything is possible. So,
Come on,
with God, with confidence, with just having that kind of stable,
Yeah.
strong core,
Yeah.
anything is possible. So it's
Amen.
just like, oh, all right. Matter of fact, I honestly didn't even look. I was just like, oh, it's my turn to go.
Right,
All right,
exactly.
What can I do to win? I'm not
Right.
looking at what you have.
Right.
I'm not looking at like
Focused on what
I'm
I
not focused on what you like, because now if my hand is focused on what you got, I'm not even gonna think about what I can do with mine.
Exactly.
And then it's just like, all right, cool, fine, I can deal with that.
Right.
So working in when the chips are stacked against you and seeing, I mean, it kind of rolls into the same thing.
Yeah.
And secondly, just seeing, there's gonna be times in life, there's gonna be things in life where it's just not fair.
Yeah.
It's just like, how does this person just wake up and they're rich?
Yeah.
It's just like, they're just born into this. They're bred into this, or this was already given to them. And I mean, we talk about this, just like seeing this for Black History Month, just like what we've had to do of being disenfranchised for so long, of just how much harder it is to get to where we want to in life.
Yeah.
But that's just the thing. We can get there.
Exactly.
It's not just like, hey, I woke up, life is right here, and I have everything that I want. We've got to get to the things that we want.
Right.
Meaning that there's a path.
Right.
Meaning that there's a road. Meaning that we have to travel.
Yeah.
If there's something to get to, that means that from where I am to where I want to get, there's going to be a mode.
Right.
So depending on how I get there, that'll give me my time.
Right.
That'll give me the efforts. Like, those are the building blocks that is your life.
Okay.
So If there's anything that's worth doing, anything that you just like, I have a desire to do this, don't give up on it.
Don't.
Have the confidence in yourself and your abilities. And even when you don't, do. Now that may seem surprising. Like, wait, if I don't have the confidence, have the confidence. What does that even mean? That means, and you realize this, what, fake it till you make it?
Exactly.
Fake motivation somehow turns into real motivation.
Exactly.
Like think of all the times we had Mando fun or mandatory PT with me,
right?
And it's just like, dog, it's 4:00 that I have to get up and drive. I just worked till midnight. All right, Maurice, cool. We about to go do this and this, and like, oh, okay, he's got energy. I do not have energy.
I'm faking it,
but
it's
by
there.
that drive, now they're like, oh,
right.
Oh, I can do this.
Right.
I can. All right, hey, we're getting slayed, but this is worth it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, okay, now it's giving me my energy back.
Right.
So life is everything. It's about energy. It's about confidence. You will get what you put out.
That's
all
good.
right. So confidence. Have confidence in yourself. Love what you do. Love the people that surround you, and be great.
Yep. That's it.
Be young.
That's it.
Dumb.
And thriving. Okay, I like how you did that right there. But I do want to say thank you so much for coming on the show and giving your knowledge, giving your wisdom, and explaining your background and just how you grew throughout the Marine Corps too. That's awesome. That's an awesome journey to even see and witness and just see your journey. That's amazing. And I want to say thank you so much to everybody who is tuning in to this episode of Young, Dumb, and Thriving.
Wait till forever.